Welcome back to the High Altitude Training Institute. My name is Greg Reverdio. 3 weeks until race day, and this is the intermediate half marathon training plan. As an intermediate runner, there are some things that you need to consider for your pacing strategy. And the first one is don't start too fast. On race day, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel rested because you have several weeks of taper where you're not going to be doing as much mileage and your legs are going to feel fresh. And not only that, but on the day of the race, your legs are going to feel, and not only that, but on the day of the race, your adrenaline is going to pump up and you'll see everybody else around you being really excited about the race. So what's very common is that for the first few miles, especially for the first mile, everybody goes out as fast as they can because they feel really good. Don't do that. Try to resist the urge of going too fast during the first few miles of the race, and that will pay off at the end of the race. The goal for this race is to do what we call negative splits. Negative splits means that the second half of your race is going to be faster than the first half of your race. I'd rather see you start maybe 10 or 15 seconds per mile slower than your goal on the first mile and then make it up towards the next couple miles rather than go too fast and then bunk at the end. Another thing to remember is that by mile 10, you're going to start hurting quite a bit. This is the equivalent of mile 20 during a marathon. Mile 10 to mile 13 is 5K. It's a 5K. A lot of times during your training plan, if you follow this training plan, you're going to have done a lot of 5Ks on the track at a fairly fast pace, usually at the R pace or the T pace, which are faster than your marathon pace. So just remember that on race day, when it starts hurting, just remember that you've done a lot of workouts that were 3 miles long and you've done them at a much, much faster pace. So you should be able to finish this race for the last 3 miles at a fairly good, at the same pace that you ran the whole time or even faster. One thing that you can do in order to help you with having consistent splits during your race is to have a pacing bracelet. A pacing band, you can download them online, and I'll put a link in the comment section, where you're going to be able to figure out exactly how fast you should be going for each of the miles so that by the end of the race you have consistent split throughout the entire run. If you have a GPS watch, use that, but be cautious. The race is always going to be a little bit longer than on your GPS watch than it is in real life. So for example, a marathon is 13.1 miles. In your case, it's likely going to be closer to 13.2. Okay, now that makes a little bit of a difference. But when you start doing your pacing, you'll notice that you'll get to the first mile. If there's a mile marker for each of the miles throughout the race, you may notice that your watch is not exactly on the mile. It's okay. Just keep following your pacing band and make sure that when you get to the official mile marker that you are exactly on pace, and if not, then you need to adjust your pace by either going a little bit slower or a little bit faster. So with that, I hope that this helps. And I hope that you have a good race. I hope that you have a consistent race with negative splits, which is really the key to having a really good performance. Now let's take a look at this week's training plan. 3 more weeks until race day. 36 miles this week. This is week 18 out of 20. And on Monday, we'll do an easy run, 7.5 miles. And on Tuesday, guess what? This is the last quality workout, really, for T-Pace for this entire training plan. So Tuesday, 4 times 5 minutes at T-Pace with 1 minute rest. That's a total of 5.5 miles, roughly, for this training workout, including your warm-up and your cool-down. On Wednesday, we'll have rest day. On Thursday, an easy run for 7 miles. And then on Friday will be another rest day, followed by a easy run on Saturday for 7.5 miles. And then on Sunday, 2 miles easy, an hour at marathon pace, and then 1 mile easy. This is your last big workout before the race. Should be about 9.5 miles total. And so keep up the pace. This is kind of a tough workout, but you guys can do it. Keep it up. As always, please give us a like, leave us a comment if you have any question, and don't forget to subscribe. We have a lot more videos coming up for you in the near future. If you want more information about the High Altitude Training Institute and what we do, please go ahead and visit www.altitude.run. You'll find that we do offer coaching, and we also offer a custom training plan for other distances. And finally, we offer summer running camps at high altitude in the summer in Arizona. Join us, find out more information, and we will see you next week. Have a great week of training.